Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Bird.
I'm Emerson.
Welcome to our historic renovation in Atlanta, Georgia.
Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Emily Lambert, but all my friends call me Bird. I own a small interiors firm here in Georgia called Bird's Eye Design. You are in my historic Craftsman in the east side of Atlanta. I have always worked in affordable housing by day and done interiors by night, and my day job asked me to move, and I had a very tight deadline. I had to be in office by the end of my maternity leave. We had come to Georgia, fell in love with Atlanta, but couldn't find a house. And then my realtor, who's amazing, had a pocket listing. She called me, she said, it's a neighborhood you're gonna love. It's very community oriented. It's a historic home, but it may need some work. We bought the house sight unseen with 3 days due diligence. I was 10 days from my due date. I could not fly, and I'm the home person. So my wife flew up on a Sunday morning, came back on a Sunday night, and it was a done deal. She fell in love with it. She thought it'd be a perfect fit for us. We knew we would have to do a little bit of work. We definitely didn't anticipate how intense the addition and renovation would end up being. We had a lot of the original trim work, the original Craftsman style, bungalow style architecture in the front. The original siding is still there. It's just now covered up. The inside was a little rough around the edges. The bathrooms ended up having to be completely gutted. It apparently smelled like cats and had some fleas. It was listed as a 3-2, but it was actually only one big bedroom that they said could be 3 bedrooms. But for the most part, you could see the original details underneath all of the current owners' artistic liberties and a little bit of funk. This house has been such a labor of love. It was such a long time coming. It's been a significant financial investment that we didn't expect to put so much money into. So it just feels so good to be here. Like, we have built it in a way where we can be here for a long time and it can evolve with us. And it's like we finally feel like we're starting to root and settle in. And that's a feeling that I don't know that my kids had before. We moved a lot and that we've had as a family. And so there's just something really special about that. Welcome to our front room. This is the first room you see off the foyer. This is my wife, Emerson. She's with me to talk about a lot of the knickknacks in this room. This room in particular has a lot of our pretty small items. A lot of heirlooms from her grandpa are up in this room.
So I first came and toured the house by myself. This looked entirely different than it does now. The walls were literally wonky. There was a mural, a DIY mural going on. Something really kind of pulled me in though, and I feel like we really sort of fell in love with it immediately.
Yeah, you did. I feel like it was the floors.
Yes, which have had a lot of work since then, especially since the initial contractor left the roof open and exposed to rain. Luckily, we were able to salvage, which really brings in, I think, a lot of the character of the home still.
Yeah, I feel like the front of the house, we really didn't want to touch a lot because it was all historic, and there's still some wonky walls. We call it Alice in Wonderland, don't look right. They're slanted. They're structurally sound, so to kind of make that disappear, we chose a white paint color for all of the continuing living spaces. You'll see up at the top, the picture rail and the molding maybe isn't what I would have originally chosen, but parts of it were historic, parts of it weren't, and by painting it all white, it kind of feels seamless and blended in. This room is our favorite room for entertaining. I feel like you're the go-to cocktail person.
Yeah, we haven't really had a lot of experience entertaining yet. We've been here for a very brief period of time, which you'll see, I think, as we go through the rest of the house. There's a few things that are missing that still need to be added. But yeah, I think this is really kind of where we have adults come and gather and drink and hang out.
She found this piano on Facebook Marketplace. We thought it was such a steal because it was listed for
$200.
$200,
yes.
But it was not.
It doesn't really work. It needs to be something with the keys on the back end of it, which is probably 4 times the cost of what we bought it for. So we'll get to that eventually, but I think long term we'll have the kids learn how to play right here. So.
I love it. It's so pretty.
Yeah,
it works perfect for the room. So the layout of this room, we have the sofa, the 2 chairs. I tried to like vary a lot of height, vary a lot of texture, a lot of layers to make it feel warm and Craftsman. I never intended to buy a deep green sofa, but I kept seeing it and loving it, and was able to tie it in with these big comfy swivel chairs we have on this side that are a variety of pink and orange and green. These pillows I found at an antique store. I bought them for a different room, but they just worked perfectly in here. This is the only place I have custom drapery in our house. It's out of my budget in some rooms, but this fabric was just too good not to use in here. It pulls every color together and really, really warms up the space, so I love it for that. This painting is probably my favorite painting in the entire home. I like to use contemporary art. I have so many antiques and so many like vintage thrifty finds that I find that contemporary art kind of makes the room feel fresh. So I knew what I was looking for. This is a Cubs the Poet painting. I've wanted a piece of work from him for years. We both have. We've followed him. We've loved him. We talked about doing a commission, but we're never in the place to make the investment. And then like 2 weeks ago, we went to the beach. We went on a date night. My parents had the kids. We walk up from a walk on the beach, and there's an art market going on, but there's only one booth on that side. And I'm like, I love that painting. And Emerson says, that looks like Cubs. And the host at the restaurant was like, it's Cubs the Poet. You're right. He's here right now. And we felt like it was fate. We knew we needed a spot for that wall. And this painting is just quintessential Cubs, and it's poetry and in form, and we really, really love it. That's a picture from our wedding. I found it. We had disposable cameras on the table, and when I was unpacking, this just fell out. I didn't even know about it, so I thought it was perfect there. Over on the other side is where we have like a bunch of knickknacks. I think that's like all your grandpa's stuff, right? That's all from Jumbo?
Yeah, we've collected a lot of this stuff. My grandpa's a really interesting character and has some really cool pieces that he's given me over the years. I think these are toothpicks. They were really cool and I've loved them forever, and I asked him for them a few years ago and he parted with them. And so wherever we go, they're always on display. This piece is actually really cool too. Again, my grandpa gave us a bunch of really old records, and as we were digging through the records, this painting, this little piece was at the bottom of it, so we cleaned it up, and it just reminds me of him. It's really cool. It's a great spot right there for it. He also gifted us the alligator. We're from Louisiana. My son loves anything alligator. His name's Lyle, so we call him Lyle Crocodile. I don't know about some of this other stuff that Emily's kind of collected, but I think it all kind of fits in nicely here. We had a really hard time figuring out what we wanted to do with these 2 pieces. I think this was another Facebook Market find, and I think they look really well right here. So
this is an old rug. I've used it in like 3 houses. I've had it for way too long. It was a custom size to my first living room. I love getting a custom sized rug. You can use the rug tiles, but a natural fiber that comes really well priced. And I try and do a 1 foot, 2 feet off of to make a perfect border. This, once we put it in, just felt a little bland, and I have this, I think it's from Pier 1, cowhide, that's how old it is, and I just threw it on top to kind of freshen up the space a little bit, and I think it like cools it off with all of the warm old tones going on. Almost everything on here is some sort of vintage or antique find. This interior decorating book is from the 50s. I really love that, and these tiny, tiny taper candles are just the cutest thing. This flower arrangement, my friend just bought a house down the street, also from Louisiana, so I'm gonna have new neighbors, and she sent me that because I did all the paperwork signing for her.
you should call it the sage too.
Oh, the sage. The sage is so great. Our next door neighbor who really helped us during the construction process, since we were living afar. We love our neighborhood. It's a historic part of Atlanta, really from the late 1800s, but had a big post-war construction boom. So it's got a lot of Craftsman, a lot of history. It had the original streetcar line. Our neighbors are so community oriented, but this particular neighbor helped us a lot. And when she walked in our house, she brought this huge thing of sage and was like, we need to sage it. And I was like, all the good juju after the drama of the first contractors here. So we left the sage there, and it's so silly, but I love it. We also have this really complicated, you see in a lot of Craftsman, a bookshelf as a barrier with these columns. This one's a little funky. It was hard for me to decorate knowing that you'd see it from both sides. So I kind of decided that this would be the front and did all of the books facing this way. This is our only bookshelf in the house. So I had to put a lot of things away, but put some of my favorites out. When I was in college, I had to take 2 Englishes and I'm very bad at writing. So my second English was Women in Stand-Up. This is my collection of female comedians' autobiographies that I have read over the years, and they make me giggle. These books are actually also from the 50s. It's like an Art 101 portfolio series with really beautiful paintings in it. I love that. I found those at a thrift store. I think like for the most part, it's just American classics and a bunch of little thrifted knickknacks and copper boxes.
My aunt passed away recently, and we bought this plant to kind of show up at the funeral home. She was a garden enthusiast, has taught me literally everything I know about gardening. And so anyways, they felt like they should send it back to us because I would take better care of it than wherever it was going. So it's found a place kind of front and center here, and yeah, we make sure it's healthy and happy and kind of reminds me of my aunt.
Yeah. So this is the foyer hallway. It's the first spot you see in the home. In a traditional Craftsman, this is actually the center of the home. This beam is structural. So all the rooms on the right are bigger. That's going to be your living, your dining, your kitchen spaces. All the rooms on the left, separated by this hall, were your 2 bedrooms in the original home from the 1920s. We kept that as is, but I could not figure out what to do here. I wanted a hall tree so bad. I searched everywhere for one. And I just didn't want to spend a lot of money. We're trying to slow decorate, but this was a spot I needed something new. And then I follow this company. It's called Palm Beach Regency, and they're out of Florida. I saw this in the background of a video, and I was like, I cannot stop thinking about this crackled leather. It'll look so good in the front room. My rug is from Etsy, and it has that like pink, dark pink in it, as well as this really beautiful indigo. And so I wanted something that would tie it in. And I finally, it was still there like 2 months later, bought it. And I love it.
Was a splurge.
It was a splurge, but it's good. There's not a lot in this space. It's not a huge space, but we were able to kind of, have your key bowl and your throw bowl there, and then have your little shoe bench over on this side, which is anchored by the only art in the room and probably one of our favorite pieces.
Yeah, so I think this was sort of like a finishing touch for us. One of our really good friends, he's in New York right now. His name's Johannes Oberman. He is a phenomenal photographer. I love absolutely everything he does. This one really spoke to me just because we're from New Orleans. If you know anything about New Orleans, Mardi Gras, street music, the bands, it's huge for us. So I think immediately when I saw this, I gravitated towards it. Emily had mentioned the blue would really go well in the space. So yeah, I mean, this has found a perfect home for us right here and reminds me of New Orleans every time I walk into the door.
The bench is from Scott's Antique Market. It was such a steal. She was like, you can recover it if you want. This is just some vintage fabric I had. And I'm like, the fabric's perfect. It has all the colors I need. I love a geometric print. I know Chevron kind of killed geometric prints for the millennials, but I love one, especially you'll see here I have a lot of iCats, but this one was vintage and really worked well. So when you open our front door, you have a direct line of sight into the bathroom, which is not something most people would want. This was actually a full bathroom before we renovated, the exact same footprint. So they had a corner shower here, a sink here, the toilet was here. Very, very tight space, not very practical. We wanted a restroom that our guests could use. And since it was such a tight space, I knew we would do something really fun. And since you could see it from the front door, I knew we would do something really colorful and bold. I planned to do a wall mural in here. I had everything picked out. The painters were painting the wall and the trim. And then we figured out that the person who was going to do it wasn't going to be able to fly, and it was really costly to get someone up here to do the work. And we were behind schedule. So I said, let's get a wallpaper mural. We're going to do it today. I sent my mom, I was in the office at work. I sent my mom to a paint store in our hometown, and she found this. It's Tebow. She found this wall mural in a book. We both fell absolutely in love with it. And then she picked the trim and ceiling color, which is in a high gloss. She color matched to the back of the wallpaper. I typically would do an accent. I really thought about doing like one of these dark browns or dark greens, but I think moms always know best, and she was absolutely right that using this frosted rose as the color from Benjamin Moore to really make the space feel pink works great. My favorite part of the space is the floor. This is from a company, Castelli Marble. This is their brown, I think it's Cafe Tenayo or something like that, with a limestone. I really wanted to do a checkered somewhere in the house, and probably a limestone checkered. The kitchen felt like too big of a space. The pattern is so historic and so charming. This really, because for budget reasons, to use a real marble floor, even with the limestone as half, was a little expensive. So getting to have a small space to put it in worked great for us. Everyone teases me about the placement of this mirror. It is a Dutch mirror. I got it from Cherish. It's, you know, to me, it's everything. I love the antique glass. I love the original chain. I love that it could fall off any moment. But the reason the scale is so different is because of its size. When you're washing your hands, you want your mirror to frame your face. And so that's why it's at the height it's at. The sconces, however, should have been a little bit different, but once you punch into wallpaper once, I'm not gonna have you punch into this beautiful wallpaper again. These were a relatively inexpensive sconce in a brass finish. They came with a tan shade that just, you know, didn't fit the space. So I bought these Miss Alice chocolate shades with the chocolate velvet tape. I think they do perfectly in here. This tub was such a fun find. There's a local resale market here, Kudzu, and they have them in every color. But when I saw it and it was right next to this soap, I thought, those are my exact bathroom colors, and that's gonna be the hand soap in here. And then really I haven't done a lot else in here. I'm scared to cover up the wallpaper. I love it so much. Against a pedestal sink, it's an antique look. Highly controversial. I really want a sink skirt in here. It's always been part of my plan. I want a fun print. Emerson and my mother think that it would take away from the wallpaper and be a bit of overkill. So I haven't done it yet, but I think that one day that'll pop up in the cards. It's so hard to describe my sense of style because I think I really design, you know, for us, it's for us, for my clients, it's for my clients. I want it to work for your life, and I want it to work for a lifetime. But a lot of my design comes from the house itself. This house is a true Craftsman, a true bungalow. And so I really needed to add like layers, colors, kind of deepen and darken everything to make it feel warm and cozy like a real Craftsman would have. I say that my design style is traditional but very approachable. Like I'm cozy even though it's Southern, but that's what Southern is. It's like you can have a fancy antique but then still feel very welcome, very able to spill on something. I think that's true in this house and most houses I do. I can't help but love pinks and like deep mauvey pinks. I didn't grow up thinking I'd be a pink girl, but I end up putting it in every house. And then of course, like green and blue, anything that resembles nature. So like terracottas, skies. I like natural stones. I like antique woods. I like woven finishes, kind of all those feel good, natural outdoor elements. If I can incorporate them inside, I will. We have 2 toddlers. I want someone to come in and immediately feel relaxed, but also say like, oh, it's beautiful in here. Okay, now I'm gonna take you into our dining room. This room flows right off the front formal living, or there's a doorway into that little hall. This table is sort of the anchor of the room. My mom had it in her house, and they were downsizing at the same time we were renovating, and my parents promised it to me, but then didn't downsize and kept their table. So I had Dobbs, it's an antique store in New Orleans, replicate the table exactly, because I had sort of designed around the space. So this is a pine that he antiqued and stained to match, to look like her French antique with an iron base from Dops as well. This bowl you got, what was that?
Yeah, Perino's. It's a garden store in New Orleans. I love it. They have a lot of really cool pots and things like that. Gift shop as well. It was an awesome piece, so had to have it.
It's just a beautiful porcelain bowl, and then we kind of used the colors from this to build out the tablescape. I've been trying to collect depression glass. I think like the almost see-through pink is so beautiful. You can see that in the rose bowls and in the highball cups. I thought this was so great. I have these highball cups, and at a totally different antique store, I found the matching shot glasses, which are on my bar cart on the other side of the room. I'll show you. I have our table set right now. The base plates are from Anthropology with the depression glass on top. I love everything to be whimsical and fun and colorful. There's ants that cross this place, not literally in the pattern. And so I kind of kept that bug theme going with a variety of bees on this marble napkin ring or the colorful butterflies on the other napkin ring. I just thought this was a space that could be fun and still feel sophisticated and elevated, but a little more of a garden party than something a little stuffier. This light is actually, my sister gave it to me because she wasn't using it in her house. She has kids, and so what was supposed to be her pretty breakfast nook is now the kids' breakfast nook, and I got the light from it. It's a gilded iron. All of my lights are from a wholesale store in Mandeville, and you will see them playing off each other. It's really important when you think about the line of sight of your light fixtures that you're breaking them up with a variety of textures and that they're all not, it's so tempting to get like the same line matching gold, 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 gold. I did use gilded iron in both these rooms, but I made sure to do a huge drum shade with the only other light that you can see from here. That's really the only light in this space except for our little crooked picture light that highlights, I don't know, is it your favorite painting? It's one of the best paintings in the house, definitely a showstopper.
Yeah, so this is a piece from one of our friends from New Orleans. His name's Johnston Burkhart. He's definitely a little bit more modern, which isn't typically our style, but I think especially transitioning from that front room into the dining, I was kind of personally worried it was starting to feel a little bit mama. So I think this really kind of makes it cool again and incorporates some of that modern element to it as well. It just really pops out. I think it's really awesome. I'm obsessed with it. And then found a really cool plant to kind of make things pop over here too. I think this corner we had some trouble with. The plant looks awesome there, and you'll see plants throughout the house. I definitely have more of a green thumb, I would say, minus these orchids right here, which I cannot get to stay alive for the life of me. So those get replaced every couple months, I would say.
Yeah, but all the other plants, and we have plants everywhere in our yard and our landscape design. Yeah. Emerson did, I mean, with the help of your dad, Juju, from the plant up front. You've gotten a lot of family help. Yeah. These chairs are were only $50 for the pair of them. I found them at an antique store, May Antiques in Mandeville, and then I had the fabric recovered with just like this plain creamy fabric. My last house had a lot more white. It was much more airy of a home. This piece I love. It's sort of got a tortoise on it. It's from Merchant House in New Orleans, another resale place that you can find some really great finds. These are the little depression glass shot glasses I was telling you about, which match from two totally different stores, but I guess that's depression glass for you. Match exactly, and I love them so much. This whole area, if you come over this way, really have a big French antique from Dobbs with the Louis Philippe mirror on top. And so I kind of needed to make it a little more casual, but still fun and whimsical, just maybe a little less formal. So instead of doing any like crystal or silver here, I have the servingware from my matching plates, and you can see the ants and the bugs crawling across it. The champagne that our realtor got us when we closed on our house with the little tie. These are pretty significant. These were Emerson's grandparents' toasting flutes at their wedding, and I think they're so beautiful. My cocktail napkins are from the Pride line, and it's just love is love is love, and then love, hope, and peace. And so I love those because they're in a little rainbow script. This whole area was supposed to be the bar cart, and then over here we have, I guess it's like the rest of it, the music, the entertainment cart. These curtains are a smoked mauve. I think they worked well with the like little bits of pink in the front and the little bits of pink in here without being too childish or like Pepto baby doll pink. So they kind of keep it warm and while holding that color. And then this rug is a square rug. I love to use a big square rug under a circular table. This rug is from Etsy. It's just a plain Turkish rug in a really neutral shade, just a variety of deep colors instead of a muted cream version. But yeah, pretty plain. I tried to square out with the room the 1.5 feet on every side and make the square directly under the round table. And then over here, the rest of the stuff I was telling you about, these prints are some of my favorite. They're from the girl's Instagram is Blakely Made. I think her name's Blakely Little out of Charleston. I think this is her Sun and Moon line, but it's a sunrise and a sunset, and those are my two happy spots. We spend a lot of time on the water. We're always on the boat. I say like my piece is on the horizon. We actually got engaged at sunrise, so I love these. They feel very like at home to me, really beautiful. Of course, we have our record player with vintage records from my dad and from Emerson's grandpa. I'm pretty sure we have a Beatles record on all the time. I grew up listening to the Beatles. This is Revolver, just a classic, and that's one of their more upbeat, fun albums. This is probably one of the favorite bowls in the house. We have a lot of antique matches in here. Emerson collects antique matches from restaurants we go to, except for I did buy some Side Hall Nola, which is like an estate resale. She does incredible finds, but she found this huge tub of matches and sectioned them off and had bids, and it's without question the hottest auction bidding war I've ever been in. And it was just to get some antique matches because I really wanted the Tulane Green Wave ones. I went to Tulane and I got them. I won, and it was very exciting. And so I keep those there in this little patinaed silver bowl. This is our formal flatware. I found it at an antique store here in Atlanta, Antiques and Beyond, and I posted about it when I found it, and someone messaged me that her aunt had these growing up and that she had gotten them in Vietnam, and so I assume that's where they're from, but I have to do some more research on them. But they're so beautiful with the brass and the brown enamel. I really love them. The kitchen is my favorite room, and I think we'll spend a lot of time talking about it because it's wildly different than what I expected. But I think if you looked at before and afters, the one that would shock you the most is our bathroom. We kept the original floor plan. We tried to keep everything for cost reasons, the original floor plan and the original structure, and it's tiny, but it's a primary, so we had to make it feel really elevated in a small space, and it has no natural light. And so I kind of ran with that, and I doubted myself a lot along the way because we went bold in there.
Okay, now we're transitioning from the dining room to the kitchen.
The dining room's right off the kitchen. We had a big debate over the layout of this kitchen.
Yeah.
The original, so everything, the placement of the appliances and plumbing in here was part of the original piece of the home. The old kitchen stopped at the end of this double window, so we doubled it in size. This was a peninsula that overlooked into the dining room. I wanted to totally demo it and have two French doors so it could be in and out and flow from the part, like the whole house. Emerson wanted a closed concept kitchen. I think in general in the design world, everyone's moving to less open spaces, less the big room, and more having functional spaces. And so I can see your point, but I thought French doors were the compromise, but
I think in terms of cooking, since I'm the one that typically cooks, the flow and feel of this is a lot more practical for what I'm doing on a daily basis, especially trying to get dinner ready for, a family with two young kids, being able to grab things, and the flow of this is much better for me. And also I think it helps to sort of like break up the space from the front to the back. I grew up in a more closed concept house, and I love the fact that I could be in the front when I was a little bit older watching TV with my friends, and my parents weren't breathing down my neck or anything. So I think it kind of breaks the space up, and we sort of, you'll see eventually move into a more kid safe area in the back where things can kind of be jumped on and, spilled on. It doesn't really matter.
So Emerson really wanted a Mexican tile in the kitchen. We looked into doing it. We looked into terracotta. Something about brick just feels very like Southern home, like
homey,
where you grew up, indoor, outdoor. Apparently not that many people do it in Georgia because we could not find it for a decent price. So we drove it up from Louisiana. This brick is reclaimed old Chicago, tumbled. It's laid in a basket weave, and all of the living spaces just carried straight through from the kitchen back, and then cut on its side and laid in a herringbone for the laundry room and kids' bathroom. I love the look of the herringbone, but it felt a little busy, a little overwhelming for a space like this. So per Emerson, we went more traditional and did a basket weave in here with a combo of two different ivory grouts. And I think it works really nice. We're still debating. I really want a big rug in the center of our island because I think it's a lot of brick, but she wants runners down the side. I don't know.
Yeah, we've got a lot of time to make decisions now that we're officially in. I think we can sort of feel it out and see what speaks to us. But one thing is for sure, it does hurt when you fall. So the toddlers have taken a few tumbles, and I think more padding with rugs and whatnot, the better for us, I think. So
sort of interesting design piece that Emerson wanted was to have no paneled appliances. For budget reasons, that was great because we couldn't afford them. But I think like when you think of home, you think of your kitchen, it's got magnets, it's got kids' pictures, and it's got stuff showing, and it's not so staged. So we didn't do any paneled appliances in here, and I didn't do a farmhouse or an apron sink. We do not keep up with our dishes. So I got this like big old, you can throw everything in it and hide workhouse of a sink. I was so sick of being splashed and of the top of my cabinets, paint fading off. So this sink is like very inexpensive, but very functional. And we love it. And like I said, this was the original window. We just duplicated it. I had to have this plate rack. My mom had one in her house, and I thought it was purely aesthetic. I thought it was beautiful, but it turned out to be the most functional part because you don't have to open a drawer or open a cabinet for dinner or for unloading and loading dishes. Those are the actual plates we use. So it's really nice to just have them out when you need them. I did not want to do upper cabinets. I wanted to have this very pretty marble shelf like straight across. But Emerson is the cook, and she said that she wanted to be able to grab her mixing bowls, her oils, her spices. And so that's how we landed on the upper cabinets. I think to break that up, I didn't do a traditional backsplash. I just kept the vertical shiplap. Even though this whole kitchen is new and the rest of the house this way is an add-on, I really wanted it to feel old. And so I tried to incorporate true historic base elements and then layer on top. So I wanted the shiplap to stay its own color, separate from the green, and then look like it had some nice new cabinetry just thrown on top of it. And that's true in all of the open shelves around the house. I also did the trim color, the white on top of the shiplap instead of the green because I like when your crown matches whatever is underneath it. I just think like in dance, you never want to cut your line. So if you're wearing black pants, you're wearing black shoes. I feel like it's like that. You want your line of sight to go endlessly, and that kind of helps with that. If we scoot this way, this is actually my favorite part of the kitchen. It's my light fixture, my sconce. I think it's visual comfort, but it came with a cream shade, and to dress it up to make the kitchen more fun, I went with the Magnolia Pookie lighting shade and rigged it up with some lamps parts attachments. But I think
DIY.
I think it makes the kitchen feel a lot more personal and a lot more at home, and it really works with both sides here. I think like if you look this way, we have a lot of cabinetry. This is our primary storage space.
The green really makes it feel more homey, especially to your point with having, the appliances silver, and I feel like this is more of like a Nancy Meyer's kitchen.
Yeah, you wanted a casual feel.
Yeah,
you didn't
yeah,
want
it feels
a
like you
stuffy
cook in
kitchen.
here, and
which you do.
Right, exactly right. So we ended up going with the Cheyenne green. I think there were a few other greens that we were kind of debating, but this one really kind of popped out. I think this house is hard, and Atlanta's hard because it's very sort of foresty.
Yeah.
So we don't get a ton of natural light in here, but I do think the light that we do have in here makes the green pop just the right amount. So
yeah, you had to bring it in person. I tell everyone you have to sample. We sample on poster boards and hang it on every single wall in a room to see the light in different places. Light makes such a difference to your paint color. This is my favorite part of the whole kitchen. It's my coffee nook. I'm not the cook, so pretty much everything else is
or
designed.
the coffee maker.
Yeah, that's true. Everything else is designed for Emerson, like to work, to spread out. She's a messy cook, to chop, and to really get into it. But this area is all the cute stuff. It's the drink corner. This is all of our barware, our teas, our coffees, and this is like junk drawer and stationery. Emerson makes my coffee every single morning. It's the most important thing in the world to me. I'm a coffee addict, and so I love this little area. This is all my coffee cups. They're from high school, sent me this. Emerson carried our first child, and when he was born, she sent me this from a vintage store in New York. It says, any man can be a father, but it takes someone special to be a daddy. It really makes me giggle every time I see it, and I never get to see her, so I really loved it.
And some other little funny pieces over here. You came home with this pig one afternoon from an antique store, which I didn't love initially. We had sort of like a larger one growing up as a child, and I always thought it was kind of odd, but I kind of like the size of the little one, and I like to move it. That is our son Lyle's favorite song right now, so he got to choose what was written on the board there.
Well, that's why I got it. It reminded me of your parents' pig.
Yes.
Theirs is huge though. So
yeah,
I went
exactly.
with a more modest version. And these teacups, and you'll see this pattern throughout the kitchen. This was actually from our wedding. This was my choice of servingware instead of a china, and it's now discontinued, and I wish I had bought more of it. It's all from Anthropology. And this oil painting I love, but I've had it for years. It's been in every kitchen I've ever had. This kitchen has no wall to put it on. So I really didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I knew I wanted it here, and I kept like propping it up and it not working. And I said, finally, let's just stick it in front of the whole thing. And I think it works great. It's so fun and probably my favorite piece. And then I love a tray to throw all of your tchotchkes on. I'm organized, even though we have stuff everywhere. And so all my cleaning stuff sits on here. These are actually our dish pads, so I don't have to reach under the sink. This is another Johannes Obermann. It's like one of my favorite pictures. I would blow it up big if I could, but I didn't have anywhere else to put it. And then this is just the room key from our wedding. We stayed at the Dewberry in Charleston, and it's probably like one of the design inspirations of the entire kitchen. And really the Dewberry is design inspiration for every room of this house, even the sense of this house. It's one of my favorite places to visit. So I love that. It makes me happy every time I see it. Emerson and I met right after I had just graduated college. I was spending keeping the summer in New Orleans before we moved, and we never separated. I was about to move. I didn't think it was gonna be a long-term thing, but we just couldn't get enough of each other. We've been together 11 years, married for 6 of them. And yeah, it's been a ton of fun. We've moved like 12 times, so we've gotten really good at knowing each other's style and knowing how to make a place feel like home really quickly. It's different now that we have kids. We want them to feel really stable and settled. And so this place and this move was a really big one for us, leaving friends and family. But I think this house has been like what holds us and is meant to be our landing spot and our comfort and to ease the transition for them. And when we go in Lyle's room, we'll talk about it a lot, but I included him in all the design decisions, and we included him in all the conversations about the construction, and I think it really helped ease his transition. And then obviously Emerson's super mom, and she's gotten the yard and all the play spots great for him, and the kitchen and all their meals together great for both our kids. So it's been a lot of fun. So right off the kitchen, we'll step into our family room. This is like the big everything room. It's our playroom, our TV room, our den, the big hangout room. This is like, primarily where we are, where the kids are. Usually right after school, Emerson's cooking and I'm on the floor with them. I had all of these white slip-covered furniture. I've had them for like 10 years. I think that was a really big thing around 2015, the idea that you could just take it off and bleach it. But I did try and warm them up by adding a bunch of different textured pillows, some antique, some new, and this throw blanket. This coffee table was meant to be where kids could bump on it, spill on it, and it not hurt anyone, and we can do puzzles and kind of spread out on it. This is another Pookie lighting tap on, tap off lamp. I just think it gives a great ambiance to the space. We don't have a ton of natural light in here. My rug is a Turkish rug. It's from Renaissance in New Orleans. I wanted something that had like orange, brick, green, blue, all the colors to kind of build off of in the living room with all the other different colors in here. This little breakfast table was an add-on. I found that we weren't sitting at the bar in the kitchen as much as I thought we would, and we were like eating towards around this coffee table, and I really wanted something that we would actually sit and eat at. And so I got this little pedestal table from Facebook Marketplace. It's just a solid, sturdy wood for like $35, and it put a piece of glass on it, put a bunch of fun colors underneath the glass to keep it feeling fresh since there was so much other wood in the space. But we eat all of our meals there, usually not with my lemonware, but this is acrylic, so the kids do use cups like this without breaking them. These chairs are probably the cheapest thing in the whole house. I try not to buy big box, but I did because I was getting so desperate with us eating on the ground and wasn't finding anything on Facebook Marketplace. They came white, and within a day they had like a berry handprint, peanut butter smudged. And so when my aunt and my mom came to visit, I think I mentioned my mom's sisters can do literally anything. They helped me recover these, just popped it off and stapled a new fabric around it. And I think this fabric came out really nice. It blends everything so you don't see a lot of the spills, because believe me, there are some. This armoire is from, my parents got it for me. It's from Scott, Louisiana. It was shockingly inexpensive for what it is, and it's traveled with me many a times. It stores all of my kids', it's probably a mess in here, all of my kids' toys, because we are in the floor playing in here all the time. So I custom built shelves in here and just stacked all their toys that they can come grab. Though Lyle's pulled this, my favorite little tassel off a couple times trying to open it. My favorite part about this room is, well, I don't know if it's my favorite, but this light fixture I think is the perfect juxtaposition to the ceiling. It's just like really anchors the space. I did not want a black light fixture. Nancy from the lighting store I was telling you about, the wholesale store in Louisiana, convinced me to get it, and she was so right. This is the perfect scale for the space, shape for the space, and the black I think really makes it feel more like a den and less like a formal living, and kind of anchors it against the kitchen. You'll see in the background here I tied in that Pookie lighting shade again over a thrifted lamp. And then that painting behind it, it's a girl out of Lafayette, Louisiana. Her name's Alex Vitos. We were looking at her artwork for our daughter's room, and we actually have one of her paintings in there. And both Emerson and I almost simultaneously were like, did you see the How Lucky painting? We both really wanted it. There's a song that we always sing that says, how lucky are we? And that's how I feel every day with these cute kids. And so we got the painting as kind of that memento to that. My kids also show up in here outside of their toys and their mess. We have silhouettes done for them on either side of the TV. These are the two of the dog. It's Petite Paper Co. from Etsy, and then I had them framed in a more formal dark burl wood from Framebridge, and they look across to my two children, Lyle and Adair. This was a gift for our wedding. It's a fruit bowl, but I use it as our key bowl. So far, nobody's knocked it off. I'm waiting for that moment. I wish someone could have told me that I was gonna end up as an interior designer and I would have gone to design school. I should have. My dad owns an architecture firm. My sister is an interior designer. And then my family is absolutely absurd in their taste. My mom and her sisters, I mean, they could have been Martha Stewart. The way they can make a floral arrangement, a party perfect, a house perfect, it doesn't matter the budget or the theme. So I grew up around really great tastemakers, but I was very math oriented. So I went the finance route and then just kept finding myself designing spaces, making spaces for me, for my family, for my friends that felt really welcoming and at home, and like anybody could come in and, you know, show up, be yourself and have a drink. And I think like that feeling is why I love design and how I got into design, and just kind of caught the bug and continued on with it. And 15 years later, we've renovated 3 homes, and I've slowly taken on more and more clients, and I feel really lucky to do that. So right off our living room is the back porch. Like I said, this house is on the smaller side. We don't have a playroom. We are very indoor-outdoor people, so we kind of use this as an additional room to the house. It's our primary playroom. We eat here a lot if we're not at that little breakfast nook, and then we have a big loungewear on the other side. So all of this is just like fun, textured, blue and green, very indoor-outdoor Southern living. I put this tap on, tap light off so that you don't need an outlet. And I have my mom's antique side table that we use as a serving board when we're out here. You can see all of the kids' toys, nothing special to look at, but primarily where we play, and they're all lined up. And then over on this far side is a built-in. I was gonna get, this is really fun, I was gonna get a custom built-in all the way around for sitting, and I found on Facebook Marketplace this that's under here. It was, you can almost see it. It was 6 inches off in dimension from what I would have had custom built. And it was under $200, except for I had to pay someone to move it because it was so 3 huge pieces, but such a steal of a find. We ended up painting it the same color as the siding, so it looks custom, it looks built in. And then I got these custom sunbrella cushions from Etsy. I think it like makes this feel like an additional living room and something you could like absolutely sink into. And we spend too much time out here, especially once the kids are asleep, if you want to come have a drink or hang out or entertain and watch the kids play without having to jump up too often. This table is an antique. It's from Antiques and Beyond. I didn't think it could go outside, and they said it could, and I just knew I had to have it. It's a little different in style than what I was expecting out here, but it works great. You can see outside we did the porch ceiling, the New Orleans blue. I can't remember, I think this one's called Sweet Bluette, but in New Orleans, everyone does the top of their porch a soft blue. And so we brought that up here to Georgia. We did traditional colors. We have a soft green on the siding and then an accent green on all of the windows and doors. The traditional 3-pane that mimics the historic wood windows that you see around our neighborhood with a cream trim. And then we added in these new lanterns and fans. We originally were going to do taper columns along the back to mimic the Craftsman architecture in the front, but doing the taper columns with the masonry at the bottom was going to be expensive, and we were trying to cut any costs we could after being in such financial distress from the first contractors. So we asked them what would happen if they did it straight, and they said for less than the cost of the columns, they could screen the whole thing in. And if you've ever been to Atlanta, you need a screen because there are a ton of mosquitoes. So now this is like really feels like a sunken living room and an extension of the home. Okay, so now we're in the primary bedroom. This was the only original bedroom in the house when we bought it. It had the original hardwoods. We really debated when we were adding on if we were going to add on a primary ensuite, but instead ended up adding on the 2 kids' rooms to the back with that family den and kind of moving the house to be more functional, where up front has our workspace, our lounge space, our room, and then the back where the dogs are and the kids are can be a little more play. And so we did their rooms back there and kept this for us. And selfishly, I wanted the hardwood floors, and I knew we didn't have in the budget to get antique hardwoods in the new rooms. So that's how we ended up using this as the primary. I had designed the room with the bed going in between the 2 windows, but after being in here, it felt better waking up and looking out of the windows instead of having them behind them. This bed is from my parents. They got it after their wedding. My dad is the 9th of 11 children. They had enough credit at the store from their wedding to buy a furniture set, and he said it was the first thing new he ever had. Both my parents worked really hard to be where they're at, and so I love this bed because that story reminds me of them. The colors in this room are kind of the story in and of itself. This, on this side, my bedroom side, it's called Milkshake by Benjamin Moore. It's embarrassing, there was a news article that was like, you'll look better naked and 10 other reasons to paint your room this color pink. And it sold me. And so I got this color, and then I kind of built the story as you move into our primary bathroom where it gets deeper and deeper and darker and darker. I let this color speak for itself. You'll see some other accents, some darker raspberries, both in my curtains and in my antique velvet chairs, and then pops of blues. These dressers I did have lacquered in a sage green. That green comes straight out of the rug. The rug I've had for a very long time. It's a wool blend. I try and get 100% wool just because cotton's less great with water, but that wasn't in the budget at the time. And so this is a really fabulous wool blend rug. It has all the right colors in it. And I pulled this sage, which also feels muted, to keep with it. These lamps were from Amazon like 5 years ago. They were brown. They weren't very cute, and nobody liked them. And so I painted them with a terracotta paint just to try and freshen them up a little bit instead of having to buy new ones. Both the painting here and over on the other side over here are from Emerson's grandfather. He gave them to her, the naked lady portraits. He said that he thought she would like them, which we do. We love them, and we have them on either side of our bed, and they're really nice and really well framed and antique and special, so we keep them up. My curtains are not custom. I actually think they're from Pottery Barn, but I brought an extra panel and had custom pillows made to kind of carry the fabric throughout. This is another vintage find. This was a stately Nola. It is a true secretary desk. It has a green leather that pulls out. Yeah, so see, look how beautiful this green leather is. She used to work here. This was in our bedroom, and she had her monitor the way we have a TV in it now. I never wanted to have a TV in a bedroom, but now that we have kids and only one TV in the house, sometimes you need to be able to have it separate. And this is just a collection of cute family photos. This blanket I love. This is one of my friends. Her and her husband are an art team. They started Blue Sleeve Studio. It's an art collection with Shannon Thomas and Gavin Jones. Really fabulous, and they do a lot of creative productions. And I love this blanket. That's what that's from. Some of my other favorite art in here is hanging right there. That is a print. It is a Raven Roxanne print. It's from her Bird's Nest line. She talks a lot about like a bird's nest being a collection of not beautiful things to make something really beautiful, and kind of a birthplace. And so I love the story behind her bird's nest, but everyone calls me Bird. So I also have always wanted a collection from her lovebirds and her bird's nest. Actually, my first design account like 15 years ago was called Bird's Nest, and it was me decorating my house. And so I really love that painting for that reason. You'll see I talked about this color being kind of like the start of the design of the primary bathroom. I'm going to take you that way now so you can see the flow of how it gets darker and darker. So my primary bathroom is right off of my bedroom. I chose these antique doors that might have been side lights, but we converted them into French doors. You can see we move a shade darker. This is Barbary by Benjamin Moore. It's a really beautiful mauve color. And I did that because I knew I was gonna accent these little vestibules with a really dark burgundy. This is the original floor plan from the house before they had a combined shower tub on this side and a toilet just floating with a double vanity here. It's a pretty small space for a primary bath, but we had to make it feel like really luxurious for it being tiny. And because it was so small, we could do things like we framed both the shower and the toilet room, the water closet, and a marble, because it's not a lot of marble that was needed. Throughout here, everything I think was based off of this burgundy marble. I really wanted a like dark purple or a dark red subway tile and wasn't finding it. And then I found this marble and was like, I have to have it. It was a little complicated getting the pencil rail in. It kept breaking to build out this frame because I had to do this mock trim that I had hand designed and hand drawn and had it mimicked on the water closet side. On both, everywhere in my bathroom, I have polished nickeled fixtures with unlacquered brass accents. In this shower in particular, the whole thing is the burgundy marble. It's really beautiful. Some things I did in here, I put all of the controls on that side. I normally open the door out, it's a double swing door, and turn it on so I don't get sprayed. And in my last house, I didn't have the arm shower. I didn't think it was necessary, and it was such a pain to clean. So that was like my only other must-have in this room. Otherwise, it's like a small but really well-sized, you don't hit your elbows shower, and works great for us. I think a lot of my design in this house is for us. It's not for resale. I don't know that everybody wants a dark pink primary bath or a single sink in their primary bathroom. But that's what works for us. We are two girls. We need a lot of counter space. We rarely brush our teeth at the same time, but we do get ready at the same time. And so this vanity was a double vanity. It's from Home Depot. It is incredibly cheap, but I had it, dressed up. I had it custom lacquered to the wall color, and then I had it changed from a double vanity to a single vanity just by flipping this drawer to be a U-shaped drawer to go around the plumbing, and then adding shelves in each of these cabinets. This marble top I custom designed. I had the counterman come and do this soft OG edge that curved, and then kind of the draw up to the shelf up top. Because we don't have a lot of space in here, a lot of storage in here, I really wanted to have that shelf to put little tchotchkes on. And so it's, I don't know, it's really worked out for us. This light fixture is one of my favorite lights. I call it the Fancy Nancy. Nancy is who helped pick out all of my lighting, and she has this in a big size in her dining room. It's the same price as almost every one of the other fixtures, which are much bigger. But I love it, and it makes me so happy, and it reflects the gilded brass here on the sconces that I have. The sconces have a reeded glass, and then both my doors have a reeded glass. And you can take a peek in the water closet just because the paint color is so fun. The paint color is called Bewitched, and I did cabinetry up to the ceiling, did the walls and the ceiling in a high gloss. It's like a very red brown, and it works great. And the reason we did the reeded glass both on the shower and here was because we wanted to have matching doors, and I wanted to have some privacy walking into the water closet. So when we were figuring out the layout, because we were doing an addition, I had some flexibility. I knew we were gonna do the kids back here and do the family den off of it, but we don't have a lot of storage space. And so I kind of created these little vestibules, these halls, to work as the storage. Each kid has one. And then I really wanted their bathroom to be Jack and Jill, but I also needed us to be able to use a bathroom from the back without walking all the way around. So what I ended up doing was doing pocket doors in this hallway. This one goes to their bathroom, and this one goes to our laundry room. And then that way anybody can use the bathroom, but it still feels very much like my daughter's walking into her bedroom. So this is kind of her little vestibule. It's also sort of the dogs and ours, and we throw some of our junk in here. This is Adair's, and then one of my absolute favorite paintings ever. It's a Kate Grace. I've been wanting a KGB for years. She's a fabulous artist out of New Orleans, and she's really fun and creative and bold, and that's what Adair is. And kind of I designed Adair's room based off her personality. It's absolutely wild, I should say. She is the boss. She is all sass. She is all fun, silly, definitely bold, and definitely bright. And I feel like this painting speaks to that and is a great entry point into kind of my design around Adair's room. If you look at her room, the wall color and the trim are all Violet Pearl by Benjamin Moore. It's really a soft lavender. I love it for a little girl's room. As a whole, her room has a lot of different patterns and a lot of different colors, especially a pop of bright pink. That's kind of how I would describe her, as a pop of bright pink. She's truly something else. This dresser was my grandma's. It's an antique. I knew I was gonna lacquer it. I didn't know the color. I pulled it, I think it's Lazy Afternoon by Benjamin Moore. I pulled it from the rug. I went with a deeper purple and had it like lacquered in this gloss paint. And then this hardware was so difficult. None of them are centered on each other, and the hole-to-hole measurements change. So I couldn't get just any like prefab hardware. I had to get something custom. The brass that was on here, the antique that was on here, was a little too gaudy against the lacquer, and so I needed something somewhat softer, and I ended up finding these leather pulls from Etsy. They came with a metal cap. It didn't look right. It didn't look well finished, and so I found these little thread nuts, these brass balls to put on it to kind of dress it up a little bit and keep it nice. They still didn't feel right. There's so many of them. I had one of these butterflies I had gotten to try, since the hole-to-hole measurement doesn't matter for it. And it looked great, but you couldn't have 30 of them. So I just spattered them across to kind of distract from the pink ones, and I think it's finally gotten to a good place. This mirror is also an antique. I found it from Facebook Marketplace for a very low cost, but it was a heavy wood. And even though she doesn't have any woods in the rest of the room, so it felt like I could do a wood, it didn't feel right. So I decided I was gonna put fabric on it. Watched a tutorial online. It said easiest DIY you'll ever do. Told my mom and my nana who were here visiting, helping me recover chairs and stuff. And they had it done by the time I got back from bringing my kids to school. They said it was not the easiest DIY, but they did have it done by the time I got it back. And that fabric is the same fabric as her curtain, which is directly across from it. So it really ties the whole room in. I also have some fun artwork up here. These are the frames that open and shut so that you can fill them with kids' art. I did the fabric again in the back of it, so if ever the artwork isn't the right size, it has like a faux matted look, but not in a well-polished way that a kid's art wouldn't be. Sometimes it looks a little DIY, and that's okay because it's kids art. This is Adair's shelf. It's got mostly kids books, puzzles that she loves, some items that are special to me. This one in particular, my mom sewed this for me when I was a kid, and now it's Adair's exact size. And I absolutely love it. It's also just the perfect colors for in here, so it'll probably hang even once she can't fit into it. This pillow is everything for the room. It's Adair in a nutshell. I'm really trying not to give her a complex, but she is the drama. If you've ever seen Wicked, she is Galinda walking over and fake passing out and then looking back to see if you're noticing. She's absolutely theatric, but we love every second of it. This pattern is another fun pattern. This is an Stately Nola find. I plan to use this in the front room. I didn't plan to use it in here, but as her like collection of creativity was growing, I thought the colors worked really well. I tried to tone it down with this little rattan lamp and give her some reading light because we do her nighttime stories in here. Her layout mostly has an open floor. That's just because she's at the age where she crawls and she plays and she needs that. And so we have a big, really soft rug on top of the natural fiber carpet that I did in both of the kids' rooms. The rug's from Anthropology. It's a lot of color, but more than anything, it's incredibly soft. And so it's great for her. When we first moved here, she was still crawling, but also that's where we play. And then you can see these purple floral curtains. They're the same as what was on the mirror. Just another print. I couldn't go with a plain white in here because Adair's anything but plain. Lastly, in her room, you have this piano with this piece of art over it. For her first birthday, the theme was Elton John, how wonderful life is with you in the world. And we all dressed up. I actually have a picture I'll show you, but she got the piano as part of the decor for me, but as part of her gift for her, and she loves banging on it. So I think it's hilarious, and I kept the Elton John books to be in theme on the ground. This painting is how I found the artist from the living room, Alex Vitos from Lafayette. She's incredible. I love all of her different lines. Wanted something floral here, wanted something with lots of color, wanted something big, and I really loved the way it turned out in the room. Okay, and so right off we'll go into her, well, the Jack and Jill door for her side of the bathroom that my kids share. It's, I don't know, I think the kitchen's my favorite space, but this would be a close second. So this bathroom, probably the first decision I made well before we started renovating was that I was gonna do a striped tile in their bathroom. I knew I was gonna do a sage, or I thought I was gonna do a sage just because it's gender neutral. It's also just neutral. You can keep it for a long time. Usually I don't like to do colors or bold in tiles or in counters because it's more expensive to change than paint. Paint's the easiest way to add color to a room without having to commit to it forever. But this color I feel like you can commit to for a long time, and you know it'll work because you can change it up a lot of different ways. So this is a sage green. It's called Country Mist, and then a white tile, just a plain subway but laid vertically. And then I like a really thin grout line, and I like the grout to almost disappear. I'm usually not a fan of white grout. I like a cream or a sand. I feel like white grout gets dirty. But in this case, I color matched the grout to the tile. And I actually color matched the white that's on the ceiling above the tile and on the trim to that tile too. It's called Barely There by Benjamin Moore. This room has a lot of fun design decisions. I wanted to keep it really lively, really silly, really kid. I didn't want it to feel stuffy. I'm not a huge fan of sconces over the mirror. I couldn't figure out how to lay it without doing a double one here, which we didn't have wired. And so when I found these sconces that were wide and antique, but also like soft, I absolutely had to have them. They're an antique brass with the glass like that. And then I tried to tie that in. This is a prefab vanity. They have a very small space to have a double vanity, but I wanted each kid to have their own things. And so we got the prefab one like this, but then I tried to jazz it up by mimicking that brass and glass on the hardware. A very inexpensive change that I think, made a big difference. I also think it's really important if you're painting your room to color drench your outlets and your light switches. And so we did that. In this case, this is not a recommendation I would make, but the outlet couldn't be moved without an expensive change order or breaking code. It was one of the two. And so I just painted it and put the mirror on top of it. I could not find the right mirror for this space. Brass just felt like it would be too intense. Not having a frame felt like it would feel inexpensive. And I was like, I need something fun. But I tried different like painted or printed or busy things, and it just wasn't working. And then I saw these little scallop mirrors and I thought, that's great. I have a scallop here, I have a scallop here, I have a scallop on some of their linens. And so I added that scallop, but I painted it the wall color to kind of blend it back in. And I really loved the way it turned out. My favorite thing in this room is all of their linens. Their towels are a lot of fun. And then the spa colored monogram towels, they each have their own robe, and I brought the colorful polka dot towels to the monogrammer to see if she could, what she wanted to do, and she picked it. And Lyle's favorite colors are orange and blue, so I think it worked out great. Most people's favorite part of the room is the alligator rug. It's a very Louisiana decision, but since we're not in Louisiana, it felt like totally appropriate for us to do here. My favorite decision is the rug underneath it, which is just the perfect color. It goes in any room. I would use this rug over and over again. It's 100% wool, so it's not gonna be an issue being in a bathroom with water. There's no blend in it. And I really love the tight weave in it. And then I just layered the alligator on top and got one of the non-slip rug pads. We also have Emerson's childhood stool for brushing her teeth. And then I put all their little gizmos and gadgets on a tray to make it look less crowded, but that's their, toothbrushing equipment and these little DIY bath sprays that Lyle made with me one day when we were playing potions. And then really the only art in here is these Preservation Press pieces. Preservation Press is out of Lafayette, Louisiana. She'll preserve your wedding flowers, or she'll have flowers from around the state and design them into really beautiful artwork. And I framed them in these dark bamboo frames. This was actually in Lyle's nursery as a kid, and I loved it. And then now I have them here, and you can see the real flowers that she pressed, and they're so beautiful. And I love all my artwork from Louisiana. Right off of Lyle's room, his walkway to the living room, which is also the walkway closest to our exterior door, is this little hall. We kind of use it as our mud room. I did this beadboard behind it with a peg rail capping it and a shelf on top. I can put up a lot of my favorite memories and art that maybe don't look so aesthetic in other spaces because you don't see this from any angle of the home. It's also where we, put on shoes, grab backpacks, hang rain jackets. And so it's got a lot of fun in here. This is a poem that Emerson's dad wrote Lyle. The alligator happened to match this alligator exactly, so I put it side by side. And that is an actual poster from when the Beatles played City Park in New Orleans that my dad gave me. As Lyle talked about, we could not have enough bugs in our house. We're big bug fans. And so this is just a little bug tote he has. My sister painted this piece of art for me when I was in college. It's actually a picture of me and my friends on Bourbon Street. This is kind of like a bunch of different stuff. Emerson drew all of these. She drew this Roman candy in high school. That's actually a portrait of Emerson. Obviously our kids, This book, I really have no idea where it came from, but it says Emily Emerson's Moon, and since it had her name on it, I put it up there. This is the picture I was telling you about from Adair's first birthday, which is probably my favorite family photo of all time because it was How Wonderful Life Is, an Elton John theme. She's Tiny Dancer. I made this costume for Lyle by myself. This is Rocket Man. I dyed an Elvis costume and then stitched on all the fire and glitter and then made his wings and his hat and his glasses. I was Dodger Stadium, and then Emerson, I made her costume too from an old costume tux. I ironed on all of the stars and then took 2 pair of sunglasses and glued them together. But that is from Elton John, 1986 in Australia. And so literally probably my favorite family photo, though a little bit excessive to just have out and about. Okay, and next we're gonna go see Lyle's room. Do you wanna show him? Okay, come on. So when we first started designing this room, he told me he wanted his room to be orange and blue. And I let him pick out the color of the walls.
And the color is blue lace.
It's Blue Lace by Benjamin Moore. It's a light blue, and then I wanted a dusty cornflower blue, but we ended up, watch out, Duty, I'm gonna shut the door. We ended up settling on a...
And
No, what is that plant?
Oh, you know it.
It's a succulent.
This is a succulent.
That's a succulent that he picked out for his room. With what's that, a stripe or a polka dot?
But it's pointy too.
It's pointy too. And so most of his room, we kind of built off different colors and textures that kept the orange and blue.
My fish is named Shiny.
Your fish is named Shiny?
Mhm.
What else do you love in your room?
And this is my bed.
Is it an antique?
Mhm.
Okay, and then what about your bed sheets? Do you want to show them that?
And this is my bed sheets. Ladybug bed sheet.
What are ladybugs for?
Good luck. And this is a hard play.
Well, show us. What is that?
A hard play.
Can you show us your lamp too?
And this is my lamp.
I love decorating kids' rooms because it's like the easiest with tchotchkes because they love so many different things. Like Lyle loves dinosaurs, Lyle loves Blaze. So we set a bunch of stuff out, that stuff that he plays with, and that
There's
really
something
works in the
else
room.
again.
Oh, look, he's got more on this side. Okay, let's go see. It's an iguana. You show him?
And this is my iguana.
An iguana and his lava lamp? Huh.
And that's my lava lamp.
Yeah.
And this is my red.
Okay, so Lyle's room, he said he wanted a blue and orange room. Those are his 2 favorite colors. We started with the base of the light blue, Blue Lace. We added this darker trim, and then we accented things with orange. I let him pick out a lot of stuff. Did you pick out your paint color? Yeah, he picked out the paint color, Blue Lace, and he picked out this rug. I showed him about 100 different rugs, and this was the only one he kept going back to. It's also the most expensive rug in the house. It's from First Dibs. It is a Swedish Rollicon rug, a really tight wool weave. Very comfortable, very durable.
And this is my lamp.
And that is his lamp, which also has a DIY geometric print in orange on it to tie in the orange. His bedding is the same, similar blue on blue.
And these are the polka dots on it.
He has orange polka dots on his lamp. He has red polka dots, ladybugs on his sheet, which he loves. And then keeping up with the bug theme, we have the Beatles pillow on top. And that actually is a Beatles, but the band, John Lennon portrait from my dad that's hanging there. He has a lot of sentimental things.
This is the album middle too.
And Hokey Pokey.
And that's Hokey Pokey.
Emerson's grandma used to teach children, so she had a bunch of vintage nursery rhymes on vinyl, and we hung them as like a little homage to her in here. And I love it. One other funky DIY I did is that antique sailboat print. It was like $10, and then I gold leafed the frame and wrote on it with right on top of the glass this little saying, raise hell, kid. Emerson thinks it looks like a kid did it, and that's why I like it. I think it works out. This is a kid's room, so it's not.
No, and this is paint on it.
And that is black paint on it. I think it works out with this layout for him to play. Things are pushed up against the wall. There's space. It's not a perfectly aesthetic room, but it is a very fun and functional room for a little kid. We took his beanbag. Can you jump on that? Ooh, yeah. We took his beanbag and spun it around and used it as a footstool. That's kind of where we end up doing a lot of our reading. His bookshelf has a ton of books on it. I couldn't figure out, acrylic shelves felt a little too modern in here. Do you want to go pick out a book for me? Mm-hmm. Okay. Acrylic.
And then you can read it, okay?
Okay. Felt a little too modern in here, and wood felt a little too heavy against the antique bed. So instead, blueberries for Sal. That one's kind of long.
Oh, it's not.
So I ordered these raw oak ones from Amazon. They're very inexpensive, and I painted them the wall color and pushed it. Leave that alone, sweetheart.
What's this?
That's your microphone. And I painted it the wall color blue lace and then layered all of his books on them, kind of organized by height, but really they rotate because he reads so much. I think it's really important when you're decorating bookshelves that it's not just all books. So we have a lot of toys up on there. Lyle, do you like your shades? Do you want to show them how they work?
Mm-hmm. I can open the shades like this.
They're the single loop corded shades. These are fabric from Ballard Design. He has these ladybug sheets. He also has a green gingham sheet from Schoolhouse. An orange gingham sheet from Schoolhouse. And this was the only fabric that really tied in every color of the room.
I love my room.
Thanks, baby. I so decorate to the history of a home. I love knowing who's lived here in the past. I love knowing the architectural style and elements and layers. But I think what makes a home feel like a home is the people who live in it, and all your stuff should be a reflection of you. It should be things you love, things that make you excited, and things you use. It should be really practical if it's gonna be in your space. I think that's what makes a house feel like it's yours. So easy. Home is wherever my Emerson is, where my babies are. There's a song I always sing to them. It's like, home is wherever I'm with you.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.